Hello and welcome all you future finance wizards. Today, we're kicking off an epic quest I like to call the Great Indian Tax Adventure. Our mission, to conquer the key steps for calculating your tax liability for the assessment year 2026-27. Now I know, it sounds a little intimidating, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll be navigating the tax jungle like an absolute pro.
All right, here's our official treasure map. We're going to start by gathering our power. That's our income. Then we'll unify it and do a little pruning. After that, we climb to the first major summit, gross total income. From there, we find some magic shields to protect our earnings, make that final climb to calculate the tax, and finally, we open the treasure chest. You ready for this? Let's go.
So, our adventure kicks off with Stage 1, gathering our power. Now, in the tax world, power means income, and according to the law, it comes from 5 mighty sources, known as the 5 heads of income. Our first job is to tame every single one of them to figure out our total financial strength for the year.
And would you look at that? There they are, the 5 legendary heads of the income hydra. We've got salary, house property, profits from business or profession, capital gains, and of course, that mysterious one, other sources. The trick is, we have to calculate the income under each of these heads completely separately before we can even think about adding them up. So, let's take them on, one by one.
First up, the one most of us are familiar with, salary. Think of this as your base power level. We take your basic pay, all your allowances, your perquisites, the non-cash stuff like a company car, and add it all up to get your gross salary. Right off the bat, we get some deductions. The big one is the standard deduction. It's just a flat amount you can subtract, no questions asked. And check this out, it's 50,000 rupees under the old regime, but a much nicer 75,000 under the new regime. That is a really important difference. You can also knock off any profession tax you've paid.
Next, we conquer the castle of house property. If you're earning rent, this is your domain. We start with something called the gross annual value, then subtract any municipal taxes you paid. That gives us the net annual value, or NAV. And here's where the magic happens. You get a flat standard deduction of 30% of that NAV for things like repairs. And it doesn't even matter if you spent the money or not. It's a non-negotiable magic number. On top of that, you can also deduct the interest you've paid on your home loan. All right, calling all entrepreneurs, freelancers, and professionals. This one's for you. Calculating profits and gains of business or profession, or PGBP, sounds super complicated, but the main idea is actually pretty simple. You start with the net profit you see on your profit and loss account. Then you put on your detective hat. You have to add back any expenses that the Income Tax Act basically says, no, you can't claim that. And you subtract any income that isn't really from your main business. It's all about sifting through everything to find your true taxable profit.
Did you sell a piece of land this year? Maybe cashed in some stocks or mutual funds. Well, the profit you made is a capital gain. The basic formula is as simple as it looks. Take what you sold it for, subtract any cost you had to pay to sell it, and then subtract what you originally bought it for. Boom, that's your gain. Now, there are definitely more complicated rules for different situations, but this is the heart of it.
And last but not least, we have the catch-all bucket, income from other sources. This is basically where anything that didn't fit into the first 4 heads comes to live. We're talking about interest from your savings account, dividends you get from shares, gifts you receive that are worth more than 50,000 rupees, and, yes, even winnings from the lottery or a game show. Oh, and a special shout out to family pension, which gets its own unique deduction of 15,000 rupees or 1/3 of the pension, whichever is less.
Fantastic! We've officially gathered income from all 5 heads. Our power level is looking pretty good, but now we have to enter the tricky forest of adjustments. This is where we do 2 very important things. We unify incomes that the law says belong together through something called clubbing, and then we prune our gains by setting off any losses we might have.
You ever have that brilliant idea like, hey, I'll just gift this high-interest fixed deposit to my spouse who isn't working and will pay less tax on the interest? Yeah, well, the tax man thought of that a long time ago. That's why we have these clubbing rules. It basically says that in some specific situations, the income earned by, say, your spouse or your minor child gets added back or clubbed into your income. It's the government's way of saying, nice try, but for tax purposes, that's still your money.
So, when does this clubbing trap actually spring? Well, if you gift an asset to your spouse without getting a fair price for it, any income that asset generates gets clubbed with your income. Same goes for your minor child's income, although you do get a small 1,500 rupee exemption there. But
there are important exceptions. Let's say your kid is a brilliant dancer and wins some prize money. That income is theirs, earned from their own talent. No clubbing. The rules are very specific, so paying attention to the details here is everything.
Okay, now for some good news. Let's talk about set-off. If you made a loss in one area, you can sometimes use it to lower a profit in another area. But it's a game with very strict rules. Check out the table. A loss from house property is super flexible. You can set it off against almost any other income, up to 2 lakhs. But a business loss, nope, that can only be set off against other business profits. And speculative or long-term capital losses are even stricter. They can only be used against their own kind. And the big rule to remember, you can never, ever set off a business loss against your salary income.
And with that, congratulations, adventurers. You have officially tamed the 5 heads of income, you've navigated that confusing maze of clubbing, and you have wisely used your losses to your advantage. You've climbed the first mountain, and your reward is arriving at our first huge milestone.
This is it. This is our achievement. We've taken the income from all 5 heads, we've made all those crucial adjustments for clubbing and setoffs, and we have arrived at our gross total income, or GTI. This number is a really big deal. It represents your total earning power for the year before we start using any of those big tax-saving deductions. We've officially reached the first summit.
Okay, now for what is arguably the most fun part. We've worked so hard to calculate our gross total income, and now the tax law rewards us with magic shields. These shields are called deductions, and they live in a section called Chapter 6A. Their one and only job is to legally slash your taxable income.
I mean, who isn't, right? These deductions are basically the government's way of encouraging us to save, invest, and spend on important stuff. So let's go on a little deduction hunt and find the most powerful shields in your arsenal.
As you can see, Section 80C is the undisputed champion. It covers a ton of stuff, from PPF investments to your life insurance premiums. But then you also have 80D for health insurance, 80G if you've made donations, and 80TTA for the interest on your savings account. Each one of these is a tool designed to bring down your gross total income and ultimately your tax.
Now, out of all those sections, if you remember just one number, please make it this one: 1,50,000 rupees. This is a combined maximum limit for the most popular investment deductions under Section 80C and its sister sections. For most people, maxing this out is step 1 of smart tax planning. But what if I told you there was a secret power-up?
And here it is. This is like a secret level. By contributing to the National Pension System, or NPS, you can unlock an extra deduction of 50,000 rupees. And the best part, this is over and above that 1.5 lakh limit we just talked about. So if you plan it right, you could potentially claim deductions up to 2 lakh rupees just from these investments alone.
Well, we've made it. We're at the final mountain, the last big challenge of our whole quest. We've taken our GTI, we've subtracted our deductions, and now we have our net total income. This is the income on which tax will actually be calculated. But to do that, we have to face the final bosses, the tax slabs, the surcharge, and the cess.
Okay, before we go any further, every single taxpayer has to make a big choice. It's kind of like choosing your character in a video game. Do you go with the old tax regime? That's the classic warrior. It has higher tax rates, but you get to use all those powerful deduction shields. Or do you pick the new tax regime? That's the sleek, modern character with lower tax rates, but you have to give up almost all of your deductions. There's no single right answer. It completely depends on your situation. So here's the classic path, the old regime. You can see that up to 2.5 lakhs you pay zero tax. Then it climbs slowly from 5% to 20% and finally 30%. One of the best things about this regime is that it's extra friendly to senior citizens. For them, the tax-free limit is 3 lakhs, and for super senior citizens over 80, it's a whopping 5 lakhs. And this is the new streamlined path. Right away, you can see the slabs are totally different, and the tax rates look lower at a lot of the levels. The tax-free limit is also higher at 4 lakhs. But please, always remember the trade-off. You lose almost all of those Chapter VIA deductions. It's a simpler calculation for sure, but that doesn't always mean it's better for you. You really have to do the math and see which one saves you more money.
See, even Albert Einstein thought this stuff was a bit of a puzzle. But don't you worry, we are so close to the solution. Now, after you've applied the slab rates and you have a basic tax amount, the law gives this wonderful little gift to smaller taxpayers. It's called a rebate.
Let's talk about this rebate under Section 87A, because it's a total game changer. Under the old regime, if your total income is 5 lakh rupees or less,
This rebate magically makes your tax liability disappear. It becomes zero. And the new regime is even more powerful. If your income is 12 lakh rupees or less, your tax is also zero. It is a fantastic, fantastic benefit.
Okay, for all our high-earning heroes out there, welcome to your first boss battle, the surcharge. This is basically an extra tax that gets added on top of your regular tax if your income crosses 50 lakh rupees. It starts at 10% and goes up from there. But I want you to look very closely at that last row. If your income is over 5 crores, the surcharge in the old regime is a massive 37%, but in the new regime, it's capped at 25%. That is a huge difference and a major deciding factor for people with very high incomes.
And now for the final tiny little monster that attacks absolutely everyone, no matter what your income level is, the health and education cess. It's a flat 4% that gets calculated on your total tax amount, and that includes any surcharge you might have to pay. It gets added on at the very, very end of the calculation.
We've done it. We have officially battled the 5 heads, we navigated all the adjustments, we used our deductions, we chose our path, and we defeated the final bosses of surcharge and cess. We now have our gross tax liability. So it's time for the final showdown, and to finally open that treasure chest.
This really is the moment of truth. We take that gross tax liability, that's our tax, plus surcharge, plus cess, and from that number, we subtract all the taxes that have already been paid for us during the year. This includes things like the tax deducted at source, or TDS, by your employer, and any advance tax you might have paid yourself. And there it is, the treasure at the end of our grand adventure. After you subtract all those prepaid taxes, if the final number is positive, it means you still owe the government a little bit more money. That's your net tax payable. But if that number is negative, congratulations! It means you've actually paid more tax than you needed to, and you are getting a refund. That means the government owes you money, which is always a very happy ending.
And there you have it, the entire epic journey, from the first step of gathering your income all the way to finding your final tax liability. You have officially completed the tutorial, you have the map, and you understand all the tools. The world of tax calculation might be complex, but hopefully it's not a mystery anymore. Now you're ready for your own tax adventure. Go forth and file with confidence.